twinkle in my eye. So we are currently setting up to have BulletJill come on for their first run of the night here. They have 2 runs that they're going to be doing. We have them for Quickie World for Super Nintendo. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you're pumped. I hope that you're ready for these upcoming runs here as they're still setting up. Emperor Snow with a $25 donation. It says, "Oh whoa, notices Link's name should be that. Oh whoa, thank you so much, Emperor Snow. That currently puts for the bid wars. That puts oh whoa in front of the leading name Stinky, just by $5. Thank you so much. Thank you. So right now, OWO is winning for Link's name.
OWO?
BulletJill, welcome on in.
Hi. How's everyone doing this morning, evening, afternoon? I don't know anymore.
I'm fantastic. I'm ready to see some awesome runs of Quickie World.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. For those of y'all that don't know, Quickie World is a Kaizo ROM hack of Super Mario World. So expect to see some stuff that looks really hard, but once you actually do it, it's not too bad. But it can still be a bit frightening if you've never seen this before. So I hope chat's ready to be amazed.
I think we're all prepared. As long as you're set up, I think that we're ready to go. When count.
All right, yeah. Let me get ready here. Also, shout outs to Valdio for making this hack and just the awesome curation of the soundtrack. Unfortunately, I'm going to be talking over most of it, but if you get a chance to and you're interested, play this, listen to his sound choices, because all this music is not your traditional SMW music, so it's going to be pretty great. But yeah, let's get started here in 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so as I mentioned, this is Quickie World. It was made by a fantastic hack creator named Valdio. This is intended to be a kind of a beginner hack, to be your introduction into the Kaizo world. Kaizo meaning rearranged in Japan. Effectively, it's just hard Mario. The first level we have here is called Goomba Jam. We're going to be bouncing off Goombas and using a Goomba later in the level to kind of escort it to the end. There's a first cycle there. Saves just a couple of frames. I'm going to be throwing this guy up here just so that he doesn't collide with what I'm trying to land on and killing it. And there we go. Okay, then I got to drop him right here, wait for him to wake up. And of course I jumped early. I was trying to hold jump as I ran off the edge, not jump into the munchers. A little bit of marathon jitters is to be expected. Not this much marathon jitters though. Let's get back on track here. There is a different setup here that you'll see in like world record attempts using that BulletJill you see spawning, but I have not figured out how to do it. It's very difficult, and I'm not competing for world records, so I'm not going to bother trying it. And let's try this again. Come on. So yeah, Valdio has actually made two hacks, Quickie World and Quickie World 2. This one is actually a little bit harder than the sequel, just because of one level in particular that I will call out when I get there. It's kind of near the end of the hack, which is notoriously harder than anything else that Valdio has really ever made. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Finally through the first stage. All right, it's all downhill from here. So next up, we have a level called Run Forest, and you'll see a lot of tropes throughout different Kaizo games. This one's trope is effectively we call it a P-speed level. Basically, you're trying to maintain your maximum running speed for as much of the level as you can. You notice at the beginning there, whoops, that's not P-speed. Valdio points out that you need to hold right and press Y. If you're not holding a direction pad when you start this level, you're actually going to overshoot the platform, just due to the way that kind of slope speed and pipe speed works. It's a bit weird. This, I want to get on the first cycle, because trying to do this from the checkpoint, the setup's a bit different. And tight jump. Didn't get the vertical pipe entry. That's okay. Another thing that you're not going to be able to really see me doing, but it's definitely there, is what we call the re-grab. Anytime I bounce off of something or I'm in midair, I can pretty precisely control my fall speed and jump distance just by strategically pressing and letting go of the jump button. It's a pretty advanced technique that you kind of just get a feel for. And now we're in a Glitch Cat Lake. Shouts to Glitch Cat 7. He's actually one of the primary reasons I got into playing Kaizo games, and this level is dedicated to him. Let's see. We grab this guy for a cycle. When you do this casually, it actually doesn't seem like you can get this guy for a cycle, but you can. Oh, that was a little slow. Come on, I got this. I don't know what's happening. Oh, I saved it. Woo! That is a way I've never actually done that before. That was scary. Next up, we have terminal velocity. Otherwise known in my splits as 53 meters per second because I'm a nerd. This level has, in my opinion, the hardest jump in the game. It's just a really awkward setup for a shell jump off of a note block. But this is a vertical level, so it's effectively an auto-scroller, and I'm going to be falling for quite a bit. There's not really much for me to say here, but I do want to point out the shell jump when I get there here in just a moment. A lot of this is basically just not holding the jump button so you fall faster. That's the shell jump, and I'm very surprised I made that first try. And that's a really annoying one wide block checkpoint that can kind of get you if you're not ready for it. Oh, come on. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. All right, now we're gonna get here down to the end, and orb. So that was the first try. That's actually pretty crazy. If I was going for PB attempts when I first tried terminal velocity, I know that I've got a good run going. So next up we have the ghost house of the game. It's called Link Dead Shed, again named after another fantastic Mario player, Link Dead X2, otherwise known as Eldad. This one, there's not much going on. There's a couple of small skips here. Like right here, I'm going to skip this first Eerie, go for the second one, and then you have to hit the midway, come back to respawn this Eerie, because you need him for a little bit later. That's a really actually hard... that's a really hard note block grab, and I got it and then failed the easy part, which is typical for me. And there we go. Luckily, this part is kind of an auto-scroller, because you have to wait for this Eerie anyway, so if you get behind him, it's actually not that bad. Alright, then you gotta bounce off the Eerie here. Luckily, Valdio... well, I hit one of them. Valdio is nice enough to outline those hidden blocks to let you know where they're at, because you need both of them in order to get over that final jump and get to the goalpost. Let's see if I can... Come on! Come on! There we go. Alright, still caught him. And you don't actually want to run into the area there, which is very possible to do. So that wasn't very clean, but that wasn't too bad. Next up, the level is called Tower of Power. This level's gimmick is that there's no midway, and you're fighting against a P-switch timer throughout the entire level. This level is kind of the first major roadblock if you're playing this casually. When I first picked this up, this was the level that I stopped at until I came back to it when I actually got serious about Kaizo. And I think my clear took me about an hour. Definitely not too bad, but when I got through the first 4 levels, or first 5 levels in about 40 minutes combined, this was a bit of a stumper. So I'm gonna focus up here. There's not really much to say about this level, so if you want to say any announcements or if we have any donations, go ahead.
Sure, we have a $10 donation from Jojo that says, "You're all doing a great thing. Keep up the great work, everyone." And then we have another $5 donation from Envious Robin that says, "Oh, whoa," for Link's name.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that donation, Robin. And you said that first one was Shoujo?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Shoujo. Really appreciate it. Shout outs to Transu Shoujo. She's a fantastic Mario streamer. She does a lot of Mario Maker, and she's starting to play Kaizo now. All right, so that was Tower of Power. Now we're into Color Code Cove. This level is pretty great. I actually like it, except for one particular spot, which is coming up. Valdio really likes hook jumps, and this level has 2 of them back to back. This is what we call hook jump. We just kind of go around it. But this is all about shell jumps, and different color coins and shells signify what kind of shell jump it's going to be. Oh, shoutouts to Terrifying My Girlfriend with that skip right there. You can actually jump from that second, third platform pretty easily, but it's apparently very scary, and she's never going to try it, even though it's basically free and saves almost no time. So after that, we've got, I see her in the chat too. After that, we got Chuck City. This level is all about the different types of chucks. So you have your charging chucks, your jumping chucks, your clapping chucks, your baseball chucks. The only one thing that's missing this level is the football chuck. It says so many football players. I like to call this level high school in my splits, just because these, you're being bullied by football players effectively. All right, so this level is actually already almost over. We have a really cool setup here. There we go. And if we just wait and then bounce off this guy in the air, we can just slide her into that guy rather than having to wait and try and time your jumps for that chuck gate. Even though chuck gates are free in 2019. Oh yeah, no whistling chucks. You're not wrong. All right, we got Inferno here. This level's gimmick is all about manipulating layer 2. So for those of you that don't know, in Mario World, layer 2 is basically the level elements that can move up and down. So the up and down elements in this level are controlled by an on-off block. And so I've got to do stuff within certain time limits and hit on-off blocks to make sure that I can do what I need to do. So gonna do this, and then we got a shell jump here. And then blue coin signifies spin jump. That was actually apparent in Run Forest, and I didn't call it out. And then right here, we have a very small skip where typically you're supposed to get all 3 of those. You don't need all 3. You can just get 2 and go over. All right, so we're actually coming into my favorite level, which is called Yellow Dwarf, which is another Kaizo trope. It's based off of a level called Ultra Star. Effectively, it's a lot of mid-air platform management. This one's very, very easy compared to most other Ultra Stars, but it's very fun. And the music in here is just a complete banger. So, also you get to see my favorite underutilized enemy, which is the Rex. All right, and then got to go big jump, spin jump, and jump again. All right, and then there's a small skip here that I can sometimes get just depending on my momentum, where I can actually skip a jump on the Rex. Didn't have enough momentum. Normally I can get that in one jump without having to use the second Rex charge, but can't do that. And then I'm going to be yelled at for not going for mid-air inputs there. But to explain what happened there, Valio set that up as a troll. You get to there, you think you're going to have to do a shell jump, and then when you finally get the courage to go for the shell jump, there's actually a second goalpost below you. And Mario World treats you crossing over the top of a goalpost as clearing it. And so as you're going for that shell jump, you clear the level, and you don't have to worry about it. This one's called Everything is Fine, otherwise known as Don't Choke in my splits, because this is where I tend to choke away my PBs. So we'll see how this one goes. This level doesn't have a particular gimmick aside, again, from just on-off blocks. And then there's some stuff later that you will be able to see related to that. Got to do that jump right there. And time these based off of that. Grab this grab block, kick it. And then you have to hit this, or else you're dead, because he'll turn out the floor from under you. And now we get to ride a saw. This is, I believe, the second saw in the game. Foreshadowing for the next level. Ugh. That was close. Some interesting fireball bouncing from the Bowser statues. And then go here, and then we have to escort this mushroom across the top. Grab it so we can survive the munchers. And that's Everything is Fine. And now we are doing Starfing Castle. All right, so I mentioned earlier that there's one level that's harder than anything Valdio's ever made. It is Starfing Castle. Valdio has gone on record with a public apology for this level. To give you an idea, most of this hack took me about 4 hours. This level alone took me another 4 hours. This level is all about bouncing on this saw, and saw hitboxes are notoriously difficult to manage. And so, yeah. Whoop. That's something that I had never done prior to doing 2P1C with the aforementioned girlfriend, and of course I pulled off in a marathon run. It's actually that shell jump there. Because shells, while you're spinning, you actually don't have any control over which direction they go. You have to do some interesting setups to make this part work. And so I'm actually going to take a quick moment here to focus if there's any announcements or donations.
Sure, it's always a good time for me to remind you guys of the incentives that we have for the upcoming. Be sure to do ! Incentives in chat to see what you can donate towards. If you send in anything, not only will I read your name and your message, but I will do it with a twinkle in my eye, and then we can also put it towards an upcoming incentive for later on. And of course, most important of all, it's for the children. So keep that in mind.
Do it for the kids.
Do it for the kids. And if you're unable to donate, that's okay. Spreading the word on social medias at First for Life on Twitter. You can do that as well. Telling anybody and everybody. Tell all your powerful and CEO friends that this is happening. Share it amongst it. Everybody, every single person that you know. All powerful organizations. I know that you guys have ties in with them.
All right, there we go. All right, don't choke. All right, orb. All right, there we go. And so that would be the end of the any percent run. At this point, it's I want to explain kind of what 100% means for Kaizo. Typically, when a Kaizo creator makes their hack, they create a certain amount of levels which they consider to be the end of the game, which would be any percent. Then beyond that, there's Special World. Special World's a callback to Super Mario World. We had like 8 extra stages or 10 extra stages that were more difficult. In this case, these actually aren't more difficult, but they are ones that are not required for 80%, but clearing them is required for 100%. So that's what we're doing. This one is actually named after Barber's King. I like to call this level Barb's Portcullis. Also, shoutouts to not getting stuck up there. It looks like you're going to, that's actually a reference to, I believe, Grand Poo World 1 that Barb made, where it actually has a soft lock in it, intentionally, just to punish the player for being bad. And then, oh no, what's happening? Oh, ceiling's fake. This level is just a lot of little tricks in it. And then coming up is actually the only Kaizo block. At the end of that little spot where I jumped early, if you jump too late, you're actually going to hit an invisible block and fall into the munchers. We call that a Kaizo block because it's a typical trap you'll see in a Kaizo game. That's actually the only one that's not indicated for a purpose in this game. It's the only troller, and that's just because Barb loves those so much. Now we're into Rainbow Road, and it's at this point that you realize that Valdio maybe didn't fully get these last few levels play tested, because we're gonna not do the second half of the level. We're not really gonna do much of the level the way it's intended. What you're supposed to do, you're supposed to ditch Yoshi here, jump off and bounce off that Dixo shell, but instead I'm just gonna kind of grab it and use it to fly through the stage. Fortunately, Valdio didn't playtest this, but also did not realize that grabbing the disco shell unintentionally, you have pretty much exactly the right amount of time to get just right to the end. So that's Rainbow Road. If I had accidentally managed to hit that checkpoint and then died, I would have had to reset my console to clear the checkpoint because I don't know how to do the second half of that level in a speedrun scenario. I can do it casually, but it's not fast. And now we're actually coming up really close here on time. This is the final level. It's called White Moth Lair. It's a reference to a creator named White Moth who created Super Gracie World. It's another fantastic Kaizo hack. The aesthetic in here is great, and if you guys tuned in for the Deltarune run last night, this music might sound familiar. So let's go ahead here. Only a couple big callouts here is that these fish are RNG, so you got to get a good pattern. And then the second half of this level is really notoriously difficult, but we're not going to do it. We're just going to go right at the top. Again, Valdio maybe didn't have that fully playtested. Runners actually didn't know about that until about 6 months after the run started, but I've never done that bottom half correctly. All right, time is going to be coming up when the whistle sounds after I get the third hit on the boo. I'll call it out. Oh, that's tight. There we go. So yeah, this has been Quickie World, and time. So yeah, that was Quickie World. I hope you guys enjoyed that run. It's easily one of my all-time favorite Kaizo hacks. I'm gonna let this end music play here for just a moment. See if you can, anybody can name that song in chat.
Oh wow. Oh wow. That's a fantastic run. I have to say that the first time that I've seen a run of Quickie World, I wasn't disappointed.
Oh yeah, and so yeah, there's actually lore to this game. It's been scrolling by on the credits, but Mario dies, and Yoshi commits tax fraud. And so in the sequel, Quickie World 2, you actually play as Luigi to go get revenge on Yoshi. The final boss of Quickie World 2 is actually Yoshi. So there's lore to this series. So anyway, that's Quickie World. I need to set up for Backwards Mario World. It's actually a pretty easy setup. I don't know if we have an interstitial for that, or if I'm just gonna jump right into it. If someone can let me know.
Sure. I'll let Moon handle that. I don't know what the procedure would be between them. But while you were running that, we had a $10 donation Amethyst that said, "Good luck, Jill. You've got this. You'll always have the better Quickie World time in my heart. Less than 3."
That's okay. So I need to explain that one real quick. So Amethyst has a posted 1404 in Quickie World 100% on the leaderboards. I have a 1356 PB that's not recorded that I got during practice for Frame Fatales, and my recorded PB is 1411. So she still has me beaten on video, but I've got the better time. Just no vid, no did apparently.
Right. Wow. So, like BulletJill just explained previously, we have them for another run here. So not only Quickie World, but now we have Backwards Mario World coming up again for the SNES, or at least it's I'm assuming is the like a hack for it.
Yeah. No, it's another Kaizo hack. So this one's a bit of a step up in the difficulty sense, and I got a lot more cool stuff in it, as far as cool things that you can see that creators can do with Kaizo. So stick around. If you enjoyed Quickie World, you're going to enjoy Backwards Mario World as well.
Awesome, very cool. So while they're setting up for Backwards Mario World, let me go ahead and remind you, you have incentives for the last run of the marathon coming up later tonight for The Legend of Zelda, where you can donate in for your names for Link as well as Epona's name. But before that, more importantly, well, just as important, we also have incentives for Final Fantasy IV, the free enterprise, where you can donate in for not only naming a character that can have up to 12 exclamation point incentives in chat, so you can get a look at that. Not only that, for character names, which you can send in, there's still plenty of spaces, but you can also they have the ability to change out the sprites for the ending boss as well as the different songs. It's a randomizer run, so we have the ability to change the final sprites either into a Deltarune related or a Sonic related sprite, as well as a song that may come from the Zelda series as well as from the Sonic series. So if you're donating towards any of those incentives, please leave those in your messages and donations so that we know what to put them towards. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. There's still plenty of time to get those in. We have Backwards Mario World popping up here. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. I want to see some flipping hype in chat. I know it might be early morning. That's okay. Hey, listen. You don't. I'll do the screaming for you. You just have to show me your screaming emotes or your screaming enthusiasm. Listen, it's for the kids.
For the kids.
Scream for the kids.
All right, so we got the title screen going here, and this might be a bit misleading. This game actually isn't played with Mario running backwards. This is just something that the creator Wes last year created for the title screen, just to be kind of silly. This game is different. This game actually uses a lot more custom ASM. ASM is effectively just assembly code that just tells the game to function differently. So you'll notice like there is no typical Mario A, B, or C. It's just new game and continue game. And you'll notice that they're in the levels. There's like no timer, and you'll see a couple of unique mechanics that I'll call out for various levels. But yeah, this one starts off with probably the most annoying part of a Kaizo ROM hack speedrun, which makes it a bit of a barrier to entry, just due to patience. But you'll see very quickly what I'm talking about. But I think are we ready? Everyone ready?
As far as I can see, I think that we're ready. So give us a countdown and then you're off.
All right. We're going to count down 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this is Backwards Mario World. As I mentioned, this game is a bit harder than Quickie World, but still on the easier side. So we're starting off here. This may look familiar. We're in Bowser's Castle. And that's because this is effectively a vanilla Bowser. There's a bit of a difference to it, and you'll see it when it happens, but this speedrun unfortunately starts off with a nearly 3-minute vanilla Bowser fight every time before you actually get into any Kaizo, which can just be annoying. There are some fairly advanced strats for this to make it go faster. I don't know them. I don't really care to learn them. I do one quick time save if I can pull it off, and that's about it. And that is ball skip in phase 2, if you've ever seen a vanilla speed run. Otherwise, I'll call it out when it happens. Alrighty. Boop. And we're just gonna float around here. This is another good time for blurbs or donations if you got them, because this is gonna take a few.
Sure, absolutely. So we have 41 speedrunners that are taking part in this year's event, in addition to a dozen volunteer hosts, moderators, restreamers. A lot of people, you know, if you see even moderators in chat, or you just want to show your general love, feel free to tweet at them at First for Life on Twitter, or if you see them in chat, just reach out and say, hey, thanks, because they're putting a lot into this event, and there's and like I said, 100% all of it goes to charity and for the children. So it's a fantastic cause.
Absolutely. All right, so I missed ball skip. I didn't have a really good setup for it, unfortunately, so I had to get the second ball cycle. But if anyone was paying attention, after the fire, typically Peach will throw you a mushroom. Instead, Peach throws you a bowling ball. So that's the really only difference in this compared to an actual vanilla fight. So that's something you gotta watch out for. So unfortunately, I lost time by actually not getting ball skip. But we're heading into phase 3 now. So this fight will be over shortly, and then we'll actually get back to the... Sorry, I saw a comment from one of my my viewers in chat. Made me chuckle. So yeah, we'll actually be getting into some actual Kaizo here in just a moment. Alright, and... Okay, we just need one more hit. No! Ah, okay. This is why I like getting ball skip, because I would have had an extra Mecha Koopa to start off this phase. And... Alright, so that's that Bowser dead. So typically, if you're doing a vanilla Mario speedrun, time would be when Peach appears, but that's not the case. Because we're actually about to get into the actual part of this game. So we do have to sit around and let the, you know, the kiss, the blush, the fireworks, all that play out. Fortunately, it doesn't go straight to credits, because that would make this the worst thing, and I would have words for West. Fortunately not. So I'm just gonna, as if mashing does anything, as if this were an RPG, I'm just gonna sit here and mash A. Mash faster, maybe it'll help. There's a reason why when I'm actually practicing this run, I have a save state that's after this fight. Because this... No, I don't want to do that every time. Alright, so now we actually get into it. You'll notice that it looks like the world map's been fully unlocked. That's where the backwards Mario World part comes in. We start at Bowser, we move back to the beginning. Alright, so this first level is called Fuzzy Star. Oops. No, died really early. Just like in Quickie World, I mentioned that we have an Ultra Star trope. This is kind of based off of that, but it, instead of being all platforms, it's a lot of fuzzy bouncing, which is arguably easier than saw bouncing, but not super easier. Alright, and also music is pretty great. I love this track because it starts off like an actual SMW song, and then it just turns into this, and it's fantastic. Turns into a witch doctor. Alright, come on, fuzzies. Cooperate with me. Ah! That was a case of me trying to do a regrab like I mentioned earlier, and doing it too early, so I actually got a full bounce off the fuzzy when I did not mean to. 7. Ah! My timing is a little bit off. Practice for this game this morning did not go particularly well, and so it feels like I'm still a bit rusty. There we go. Gotta do a spin jump there because there's actually a hidden note block. Also orb, because if you just try and run for the orb, you're gonna hit the note block. It's gonna bounce you up into the munchers. This game has far more trolls than Quickie World does. I'm gonna do my best to avoid all of them, but I might hit a couple. And now we're into Shevda Skyzo. Big shoutouts to Shevda. She's a fantastic Mario streamer, both Mario Maker and Kaizo. She is the primary reason that I really got into Kaizo this year and started speedrunning and P-Switch. This is, again, another P-Switch level, similar to Tower of Power. So there's not really much I can do as long as I just go fast enough to beat the P-Switch timer. Shall jump here. And all right, cool. So there's actually a hidden block right there at the top of that rope where if I hit it, it's actually a custom sprite of a message blocks that makes a message appear. That's just one of Shevda's quotes. It talks about how no one's made a good Mario level in like 13 years. It's a bit more colorful language, so I'm actually glad I didn't hit it because I know this is trying to be a family-friendly event. But if you're interested in that, play this game yourself and get to the end and hit it, and then be sad that you hit it because it means you die. So now we're in Arby's Shell Cavern. Oh, almost had it. This level is actually really hard on my hands. This is kind of showing what West does now. West really does a lot of shell hacks with like Super Chefy World and Super Chefy World 2. And I feel like this was the beginning of the problem. This level is pretty difficult. It's named after a fantastic Mario speedrunner named RB Machak. Someone I actually was fortunate enough to meet during my first GDQ. And he's just an all-around fantastic guy. Lots of energy. Big shout-outs to him. If I can get into this pipe, I would be much happier. This casually probably took me more time than any other level in this hack. So if I can even get a remotely quick clear of this level, I'll be happy. Oh, come on. Unfortunately, the longer this goes, the more my hands start to hurt, just because of how, like, if my input display was up on the screen, you'd see what it is I'm having to do. There we go. All right. First half's done. Second half time. Shell to the face. Let's try that again. There we go. Orb. All right. There we go. That second half went really smoothly compared to the first half. So next up, I believe we have Fort Bleb. Forgive me, this is the one level I actually don't know the lore behind the name. But this level it's pretty fun. You go kind of up this fort, you gotta jump up these vines, because if you just try and climb up them, you're not gonna get there in time. And then hit a spike. There we go. And then shoutouts to doors, you only need to go into the top of them. And now we go back down in a different spot of the tower. So 5. All right, so now this part here is pretty cool. You're gonna see me do a little wiggle. If I went directly up for that orb, there's actually a Kaizo block hidden on the exact spot that orb is. And if you try going from the bottom, you're just gonna hit the Kaizo block and die. So you actually have to kind of wiggle around it. Again, just more trolls. Now we have Dode River. Shoutouts to Dode, another fantastic Mario speedrunner. Water levels in Mario are garbage. So Wes decided, you know what? Let's just take the normal water level and just make you collect 10 coins. And so that's what this is. And I like this a lot more than your typical Kaizo water level. So gonna grab those 3 coins, and then 3 of them are just right up here. If I can time this, I almost got all 3. Go down here. This is actually free. Oop. This one's the hard one, in my opinion. There we go, got it. And then just go up past these fish. Balance, come down, and first cycle, and got it. And so that's Dode River. Alright. For anybody that's played vanilla, you recognize what the red dot means. It means there's a secret exit. So now it's time to explain what 100% means for Backwards Mario World. There are actually 3 categories for this game. There is any percent, 100%, and backwards percent. So at this point in the game, it splits into 2 routes. You have your any percent route, which would actually mean getting the secret exit in this level and going on towards the final boss. You have your 100% route, you have your backwards percent route, which is to take the normal exit and go down to Whom Why Not's house, get into Whom Why Not's house, and hit the message blocks there. And then 100% is just doing both, basically all levels. So that's the normal exit. I'm going to go down, grab the, I believe it's 3 exits down there, then come back up and get the secret exit, and move on to the final stages. That's also named after Pangaea Panga, fantastic creator. Most notably created like Dram World, Dram 2, and probably some of the hardest Mario Maker levels you've ever seen on YouTube. He's fantastic. Big shout outs to him. All right, so now we got Met's Mansion. Again, I don't know the lore behind this name, unfortunately. But this is a really fun ghost house. It utilizes these green balls. I like to call them balls of Ecto Cooler if you are a 90s kid and like Ecto Cooler. So yeah, now this part, I'm actually not even doing any of the walking. This is all custom ASM, which makes me walk at this speed consistently. I can't stop myself. But there are various Kaizo blocks and just tricks and stuff. So this is all about just timing your jumps. And there we go. And that's Met's Mansion. Next up, we have King Hippo Palace. Again, more names I'm not quite sure about. I'm sure that all these people are fantastic. I just am not personally aware of who they are. This level's all about kind of, oops, not doing that. Kind of just staying in the air and regrabs in, some, again, more shell jumps, because that's how West do. Alright, and then go over. Oh, dang it. And then, okay, there's the midway. Now this part's pretty cool. If you hit these Koopas on just the left-hand side, it spits out their little, Koopa inside, so you can use it as another obstacle. But if you hit them on the right side, it spits the other way, and you can't clear the level. All right, now we're about to come up here on the switch, and so we're gonna hit the switch, and oh no, that's a trap, and oh no, it's another trap. But luckily, it's just a fake outfall that can sometimes clear. And then that's King Hippo Palace. Oh yeah, King Hippo is from Punch Out. I wasn't sure if there might be a streamer named after it, just because of the lack of a space, I believe, in that level name. Alright, and so now we're going to go to the last level of backwards percent. It's called Akihabara. This one's pretty cool. You actually play it from right to left instead of left to right. Whoop. So something I didn't call out during Run Forest of Quickie World is that using bullet bills to kind of traverse and saving them is another Kaizo trope. And so this level definitely utilizes that. I was somehow faster than I was supposed to be there, which is rare in a Kaizo game. I'm not sure how that happened. Didn't get a high enough jump. This just goes to show you that Kaizo is, even if you've done it hundreds of times, is not always the most forgiving or easy thing. And unfortunately, with Kaizo in particular, if you get a death, it can tend to really throw off your muscle memory, and things can spiral downhill pretty quickly. So I'm just gonna try and get back on track here. There we go. There we go. Midway. All right. So now we're gonna go up here. So doing this the first try without dying after the midway, those baseballs can actually really, really throw you off. It's actually really unfortunate. All right, Kaizo 1 reference. So in the first Kaizo game, you kind of start off with a 5-stack of bullet bill launchers, and that's just a reference to that. Also, orb. And it's cool. So just for completeness sake of a backwards percent run, I'm just going to go ahead and run in here and hit this. This is not required for 100%, but congrats, you have completed the game, or have you? Peach and I will still be waiting for you in the next adventure. So that's completed backwards percent run. But now we're going to go back up to Bridge of Panga. And we are going to get the secret exit. And move on to the final stages of the game. I do want to call out one thing here that someone might have noticed. Oops. The first time I went to this level, but I was explaining the route, so I didn't get a chance to. In Mario World, you can die after you get a clear condition. If you would normally die. So see that orb? If I hit that orb, it would trigger a clear condition, and I would start walking as if I'd cleared the stage. Then I'd walk right off the edge and die, and therefore I would actually not get the clear. You actually have to survive until the end of the fanfare. And so we take that pipe, and now we are into the second half of this part of the exit. You have to ride this up. A lot of these blocks are custom, making the rope bounce, and then the skull blocks obviously are death for Mario. Grab the key. Oh wait, gotta jump over those rocks. If you tried going for it, it's actually a fake keyhole. Even if you got there in time, it would not do anything. All right, so that's Bridge of Panga's secret. Now we got Enchanted Beach, and if anyone's ever seen anything Kaizo, dolphins are the worst. So this level, at least the first half, is full of dolphins. Say hi. These guys are Yoshi food. I actually just recently found out a slightly better way of doing that right there. I used to not do a spin jump there, and it was very, very difficult. There's a lot going on with these dolphins that I don't really have the time to explain, just know that dolphins are not your friend. All right, and now we got Flood. So as I was mentioning, and I mentioned in my interview, there's some really cool stuff in this. A lot of custom code. These special world levels, even though they're part of the any percent route, actually have some really, really cool custom ASM. So like Flood. And I needed at least 8 in that water there to make sure I had enough time there. And there. That was, that might have been a one-shot. If not one-shot, that was a 2-shot, and that's really, really impressive for me. That level's probably the one that's hardest for me throughout this entire run. All right. So now we're going to go in to the last shout out as far as level titles that I'm aware of. We've got Glackum's Galaxy. Glackum's a fantastic runner, both Mario and Rayman. And this level has like moon physics. So we're going to be jumping big, we're going to be falling slow. Don't know why I did a spin jump there. And we're just going to use this to do tricks that you couldn't normally do. Make jumps you couldn't normally make if you didn't have this type of physics. Because we're afforded kind of some extra time and extra distance. I'm going to grab this midway from the right so I can kind of just loop around real quick and hit these Koopas. Alright, we're going to grab this spring from up here. Whoop, kick the spring, bounce off of it. Going to grab this shell here, do that to kind of a back kick, and then this shell jump, which would normally be impossible, is just basically free. And that's Glackum's Galaxy. Alright, so now we're actually heading into the final level called, I think it's Shen's Castle or Zen's Castle. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Xen. And this level has a really cool mechanic that you might see in some later Kaizo runs. These blocks here, there's no on-off block, but I control them by hitting the L or R button. So I'm actually controlling when these blocks turn on and off by pressing a button on my controller. Oh, and sometimes failing to press it. So yeah, there's so much cool stuff that you can do just with custom ASM, and the Kaizo creators and the Kaizo community in general are just so creative and so fantastic, and they make just awesome stuff for us to play. We're never out of content. Alright, so we're actually going to head to the final boss here. This boss is pretty difficult. Time is on the whistle after the 5th hit, but you'll notice here that there's only 1 row of blocks. Wow, that was 1 shot. Time. I thought I was going to have more time to explain what's happening there. You have enough time to, if you grab a block and jump on the same frame, you carry it with you without falling, and that's what that boss fight is about. It's actually a pretty easy trick because you control when it is, but I'm really bad at them. So getting a 1-shot on that, especially in a marathon setting, is quite amazing. With all my struggles earlier in the game, that's the thing I'm most happy about. So yeah, that is Backwards Mario World, and that is the end of the Kaizo block that I was doing by myself. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I do have a couple shout-outs. Shout-out to Amethyst Rocks in the chat. She's fantastic. She is another reason I got into Kaizo. Shout-outs to Fearful Fawful, also see in chat. Just amazing. He does a lot of tasking as well as a lot of work for the Kaizo community. And then shoutouts to the tech team behind the scenes here. Shoutouts to Brosentia for just kind of putting this out on Twitter when submissions were open and kind of bringing awareness to this. I would not be here had he not used his platform to kind of spread awareness of this event, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. And then shoutouts to BulletJill and West for making these fantastic games. And then shoutouts to my lovely host. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry that I didn't give you much chance to talk.
No, it's okay. I can tell that this isn't your first time doing a speed run or participating in one of these. Thank you so much for bringing those awesome runs to us. It was really, really fun to watch. My hands cramp up just even listening to you talking about your hands cramping up. I'm just like, oh gosh, my hands. So, thank you so much. Those are some fantastic runs.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, and I hope that this isn't the only time that we have this event. I'd be happy to maybe show off something a bit harder next time if I get a chance to. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I'm going to bounce. I need to sleep. So everyone make sure you stay hydrated and get rest. Bye.
Thank you very much. Everyone, once again, that was BulletJill for the past Quickie World as well as Backwards Mario World. Up next, we have a Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. It's going to be run by Snowion. And then I'm also going to be passing off, unfortunately, this is the end of my shift. I'm going to be passing on the hosting to Bernard the Bear, whom we had earlier. What was they were couching for Sonic CD during Meowskovich's run. So I'll be passing off to them. So a couple things before I go off. We have one donation here from Stella Cat. It's $10 donation saying furries and speedrunning are my two biggest passions. And it's amazing to see them come together for a good cause. Thank you to everyone making this possible, and good luck to the runners. We just got another $10 donation from V Agent Zero. It says, thanks for doing this awesome event. BulletJill was fantastic. Some really, really impressive runs. Like I was saying, it was making my hands cramp just even thinking about it. Before I head off here and pass the torch off to Bernard the Bear and Snowion in their run, I will remind you that there are still incentives that can still be met, because after this Mario and Luigi run will be the Final Fantasy IV run. The Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Randomizer run. You have the opportunity to donate for naming a character. You can also donate for the randomization of the sprites at the very end of the run. It could be either a Deltarune or a Sonic sprite, as well as you can donate for the song at the end, which could also be a Zelda or a Sonic one. So between those, if you're sending in any donations, be sure to leave in the donation message what you are putting your money towards. But thank you so much for all the current donations. As they're setting up here and pulling in the next host, I'll once again remind you that there are, if you're enjoying this, you want to see more awesome people playing video games for Extra Life, be sure to check out their Extra Life fundraising weekend happening November 2nd and 3rd. Follow at Furs for Life on Twitter for updates and information. That's the best way that you can reach out to them for more information about what they're doing here currently. But thank you so much, friends. Stick around. We have a lot of awesome speedruns still coming up. However, we still have quite a handful. So, and like I said, there's incentives. Be sure to get in for them. So here, I'm just gonna keep babbling at you until they inevitably they're just gonna reach on from the sides here, and they're just gonna push me off. They're like, all right, this guy's been talking for way too much. It's time to just push him off. So yeah, exclamation point incentives, exclamation point donation, donate. You can even do, what was the other one? Exclamation point, I believe it was join, so you can join the team and participate in stuff that we're doing here. Listen, they're starting to do it. There's the strong hand of First for Life is slowly pulling me off the stage, because Bernard the Bear has arrived.